Shabbat Shalom to all of you. And this Shabbat, we are going to start a new book, the 5th book of the Torah. This is Devarim, the words. And it's known in the Latin as Deuteronomy. And comes from the idea of the word called before the Devarim as Mishneh Torah. And a copy of the Torah or a repetition of the Torah. But really it is not a repetition. It is not a copy of the Torah. And sometimes because of that, we can have a different understanding about the scripture because we follow what other people tell us, not for what the scriptures are. Devarim, called in the Latin Deuteronomy, or the second canon or the second law, it is not a second law. It's a book in itself that was written at the end. And there is a great controversy about this book, by the way. In textual criticism, there are many opinions about the scholars that this book was written later. I won't go through all those things about the criticism that they have. The only thing they can tell you that I am a very simple-minded. I am not trying to complicate too much. To me, I consider Devarim as part of the Torah, and being part of the Torah is the direct revelation of the Creator. Now, there are things that are different, this book, to the rest of the books, because this book is unique in the sense that it's written as Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to his people. You know, the other books is a third person talking on behalf of the Creator. Here is the Moshe Rabbeinu speaking directly to the people. One of the ideas that I can share with you in this is about the process of Moshe Rabbeinu as a leader. I have been speaking about this before. Is the idea of a father that have their children. And you know, when the father is getting in the last days of their life, you know, we see, for example, in Bereshit, when Jacob is going to die and he calls Joseph and then he calls all of his children and tell them the last words for them, you know, like making them to remember certain aspects that are valuable. As a father, all fathers want the best for the children. And you know, and doesn't matter how much we repeat to our children have the mind on their own. And they are going to do what they want to do. We cannot put a pistol in their heads or anything like that. The only thing that we wish and we hold that one day they will remember all that they have learned as young people, growing up in the home, and they will apply. You know, in Mishlei, in Proverbs, it's very interesting that there is a passage that says, you know, educate your child or bring your child in the fear the ways of the Creator, and you know, and when he is an adult, he will remember, he will come back. I always have this in mind with my own children and with the children that has come through this congregation. That even if they, one day, deviate a little bit, they have such a wonderful foundation that they cannot run away and they're going to come back. And this is what I have been talking to you about, this term that the Creator has given to us, and it's called Bechira Chofshi, free will. For us parents, it's very difficult to know when we let our children go. You know, because we would like to hold them until they are 99 years old, you know, and we hold them. But the truth of the matter is that as parents, we need to be also wise. If we hold our children and we suffocate our children, we make rebel children. We need to give our children a space, a place to grow up. and let them know that we trust them and that we want that they do the best decisions based on what they have learned and the wisdom of their parents, the wisdom of the Torah. Not always our children are going to make the best decisions. You know, there was one person who used to say, you know, juice is wasted on the young. You know, I wish that at this age that I am now, I will be a young person, because boy, now I know everything that I needed to know before that I didn't know. But this is a process. All of us will learn. And our children, they need to be wise in this sense, that they need to learn by the experience of their own parents, the experience of their elders. And if they start learning by the experience of the elders, I also have said to you that it's less painful to learn from somebody else's mistake than to learn from your own mistakes. Well, Moshe Rabbeinu is starting to give his valedictory speech to the people. He is going to die. He knows that he's going to die. You know, according to our sages, even they have the date that when he died. You know, the calculation that they have. But we do not know exactly when he died. We more or less have an approximation. But one of the things that is important to look at this is his desire for the new generation to follow the principles that were given in Horeb. Horeb is a synonymous of Sinai, in case that sometimes people get confused about these terms. When at the beginning, the first generation, you know, they say that they were going to obey, and they were going to do and obey. Do and obey. You know, this second generation, they needed to do this also pledge about the Torah. Last week, if you remember, in the last book, last parasha, the two parashas, Mato and Mato and Masei, the journeys, I'm sorry. The word, the vows and the oaths, you know, and that was to prepare us in order that if we give a vow and we make an oath, then we need to keep it. You know, I told you about how Messiah Yeshua told us about that our yes needs to be yes and our no needs to be no, and we will never find ourselves in troubles. That we need to be honest and clear in what we want. Well, you want the best for your people. But even in a family, not all are the same. You know, sometimes you have better children than other children. You have wiser children than less wiser children. You have more open children than closer children. All depends. In every family, you have diversity. But when you, as a parent, deal with your family, you deal with them as equals. But you know that not all of them are going to behave the same way. And then you need to speak not individually, but in general, to all of them, that they need to understand that there is always the possibility in which we can fail. And that failure is going to produce to us situations in which we do not want to be, and it's going to be difficult and hard. But always there is the opportunity to come back. What I call it teshuvah. You know, return to the Creator. Moshe Rabbeinu is with this thing in his heart. He has already been told that he cannot accompany his people to the promised land. He's going to see them from far away when they cross, when they are going to cross. Even when they cross, he already is with his own parents, you know. And he's out of the picture. And he's a new leader. And this new leader has been with Moshe Rabbeinu from the beginning. He knows about the revelation of the Torah. And he needs to be following those principles. The question is this: is everybody in agreement? You see, Not everybody who say to you yes means that they are following you. And you need to deal with that. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that through his own experience, through those 40 years in the wilderness, he saw that Israel was not an example of anything. You know, we have the tendency to be idealistic, to idealize the past. You know, many of us that we are foreigners or immigrants in this country, you know, when you start talking about where you come from, you know, you start saying, oh, that's so beautiful, and it's this, and it's that, and it's great. And then one native from here is saying, is your country so beautiful, why do you come here? You know? Because what is the tendency as human beings? To idealize. We put in a pedestal something that never existed. It was a dream. That we live a dream, the past. You know? Because our minds, they don't help start erasing the bad things that we went through, and we only start remember the thing that we like. Well, Moshe Rabbeinu needed to talk to this new generation, that remind them what they went through with the first generation, all the problems that they have, and including the second generation too. Because the second generation start failing at the entrance of the promised land. They start doing things. And he's going to blame them. The reason that he was not able to come to the promised land was because of them. Because you made me upset. You made me lose my temper. And, you know, I hit the rock, and that was it. But there was even more than we can see through all these aspects. How our Creator, in his wonderful wisdom, he was helping us from generation through generation. And there is a change of guard. And the change of guard, when you pass the baton to somebody else, you need to accept that you have done your best. You cannot impose on others anything, only to transfer what you have learned, what you have received. The young people are the greatest treasure that we have. You know, they are the continuation of us. And we need to invest on them. And this is how Moshe Rabbeinu is spending so much time in these few days that he has alive. And he's trying to tell them everything that he could, plus many things that was not said before. But as part of the divine revelation. The Torah is a book. It's a teaching tool. It's a concept that gives us principles and way of life. We as men sometimes we misunderstand the Torah because we made it a system of laws, do's and don'ts, instead about looking at the principle of life, how to live a better life. You know, the only way that we as men sometimes function is under the idea of punishment, instead of functioning on the idea of welfare and do good. And this is the reason why we are constantly in a balance, like in a scale, you know? From one side, it is trying to do good. From the other side is, if I don't do, what is the punishment? You know? And I'm trying to balance constantly. You know, why I do not break the law? Because if I break the law, you know, what is going to cost me? You know, for example, many of us that we go to a store and sometimes we are tempted to take something. But immediately come to our head two things. First of all is, there's no right to do it, of course. But the second thing is, if I am caught, what are they going to do to me? You know, then there is a both sides has a reason to be there. And that's how the Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to tell the people of Israel. From one side, you need to have loyalty to the Creator. He wants the best for you. But from the other side, remember this. If you fail, you suffer the consequences. Most of the religions, they don't want to tell you about these consequences if you supposedly do certain things exactly the way that they tell you. And what they do is they take away your personal responsibility. Some of the religions, they are very popular, are the religions that they are going to teach you how somebody else is going to pay for your own problems. That's very popular. Why? Because take you away from you, from your shoulders, the idea of being responsible. Moshe Rabbeinu trying to tell to his people, very clear, the Creator has given us this way of life, these principles for having life and life in abundance. But be careful that if you disobey, if you go, you stranded yourself, you go a different way, you're going to be on your own. And being on your own, you are going to suffer the consequences of your own acts. Don't blame the community, don't blame the Creator, or don't blame the neighbor. Look at yourself. And this is the part that we have failed today. You see, we are in a society in which we are pointing fingers to others, never ever to ourselves. We have this new generation, that we call it the millennium generation, and that has other names. And this is one of the most selfish generations that has existed. What is a selfish generation? Because they have been taught wrong. They have made them believe of the entitlement. They have made believe that their parents owe them something because they were giving life. It's totally the opposite. The Torah teaches the opposite. But today, children, they think that the parents, they owe them. You know, I told you before that one day I was doing counseling with a family. And one of the children said to their parents, I didn't ask you to be born. You know? And you want me, you owe me. You need to give me this. This is mine. No? My inheritance. It's like I had a right. You know? And we do not realize that the greatest gift that our parents gave us to their Creator is life itself. The rest we need to work out. Yes, we need the help of our families, the parents, our community. But it's up to us as individuals. And we have taken that away. Religious people have taken that away from us, the responsibility. Because the only thing that they request from you is that you follow systems. You follow forms. You follow ideas instead to act and doing. Moshe Rabbeinu is telling to the people of Israel, you are going to be doing. Remember what happened in all these years. Remember that the Creator did this and that and that and that for your benefit. You know, he asked here to those who are going to be judging others to be careful that they do not partialize with anybody. And they do justice, you know, without looking at whom, but justice for the sake of justice. Something that we have lost completely an idea. Today, you know, we look and what does justice exist in this world? The justice that only existed for those who have the money to do it. You have money to buy a lawyer, or you have the money to buy the law, you are out. But a person who is poor or doesn't have it, you know, the jails are full of the people who sometimes they are the last ones that deserve to be in jail. And those ones who deserve to be in jail, they are in very high positions. That's how we have twisted the world. And we are living in a situation of hypocrisy, the highest hypocrisy in the world. We can see in the United Nations today. We can see the treatment that they do to Israel in comparison to the other ugly, pervert nations. And you see it, but nobody opened their mouths. You know, I was listening about the Human Rights Commission in the United Nations. And one guy spoke almost an hour against Israel. Wow. They never mentioned Hezbollah. They never mentioned North Korea. They never mentioned Venezuela. They never mentioned all those, what is happening in the Arab countries in the Middle East. Only Israel. You have seen the news today about what is happening in the Temple Mount. You know, they want to worship their God, these people, you know. But they can take weapons, they can take machine guns, they can take bombs, everything is okay. Because they worship the true God. When Israel says, enough is enough, you won't kill us anymore. And we are going to put detectors. In that way, you do not kill us anymore. The whole world protests against Israel. That's the justice that we have today. And let me tell you, we are going to say, oh, poor Israel. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Israel. You are unique. You have been given something special. You were the first one to be given the total light. And what you're doing with that? Israel needed to be united. What's the problem with Israel today? It's totally disunited. The Hinasinam, the free hate. I wish that was from outside. Now I can see it inside Israel, among our people. We are totally divided. And I'm going to tell you a secret that is not a secret. The only way that Israel is going to be united, we don't like it or not, is when Israel is attacked. It's interesting. Israel needs to be attacked to be united. When we are okay, you know, we do whatever we want to do. How many of us, we have this problem? I mentioned to you one time, you know, I used to travel a lot. My traveling has been diminished tremendously, but I used to travel almost every other week. I was going to some other countries, you know, from all over the world. And every time that I will go to the plane, I used to see people opening the books or, you know, they will remember the Creator or their gods or whatever, they will remember in a moment. And many of them will say, you know, I promise you if I arrive well and nothing happened to me and I want to be a good person and all other things. As soon as they arrive, hey, you believe me. You know, they keep doing their own life. But in that moment, they will ask for help, divine help. And this is what I have been calling about a religion of that we want to use, you know. We have a utilitarian religion. Most of the religion is, what do you offer me to follow you? Then, have you gone to buy a car? You know, when you go to buy a car, you do your analysis and you see different cars, you know? And then you look at the cars and you say, which car offer me more a better deal? Or better, you know, and you can decide it by the technological part or you can decide it by the economical part, the financials, all those things, you know? And then you choose according to the one that you think you're going to get most of it. Most of the religions are the same thing. They put you there in the market of ideas, and and then they say, look at what this offer you, look at what this offer you, look at what this offer you. And each one of them, then you start examining, and you say, oh, this religion is better than this religion, and this religion is better than this religion. Which one offer me more things? And what the Creator teaches you in the Torah, what Moshe Rabbeinu is telling to the people, it's not like that. All of us, we are individually responsible for our own actions. And our own actions are going to cause problems to the rest of the community. That is what is so important about being honest with yourself. The basic principle of the Torah that we are going to see in this is when God, the Creator, chooses us to do something, He gives us a role to fulfill. And when we disobey or we don't do it, we suffer the consequences ourselves, but also suffer the consequences to those who supposedly were going to be the one that are going to receive what was given to us to give. Why do you think this world is a mess? There is a competition right now about religions, but there is no a competition. And this is the sad part. There is competition among religions. My religion is better than yours, and they offer more. But why do not talk about what I am responsible for? Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to the people of Israel and is asking them in this very special way. You have seen what happened to the first generation. Your fathers did this and did that, and look at where are we now. But now we are in the threshold of receiving the promised land. In the Hebrew language, it's very interesting because when Moshe Rabbeinu say, he say, the Lord our God spoke to the people in Horeb, Sinai, and then this. And then he's telling about all the round that the thing that he has done. And in verse 8, he says, look, I made this land before you. I put this land before you. And say, you need to get in and take it. What he says is, Re'e natati lefaneihem es haaretz, bo'u urshu. What it means is, he doesn't say, I am giving you in a plate. What I'm saying is, you need to take it. What it means is, God has provided us all those things, but we need to work for it. Nothing comes from the heavens to us, and the only thing that we need to do is to cross our arms and to enjoy life. At the beginning, what was the curse that was given to Adam? With the sweat of your brow. You need to till the land. You need to work. All of us we want right now is a handout. We love handouts. This is the problem with this generation. They think they have the right to have. What they have the right is to grow and to be better than their parents. They have the right to study and to do the best that they can. And always being better than their parents, that will be wonderful. And the generation needs to be better. Why? Because they have the foundation of the truth. But what is happening right now in Israel? And why I mention so much Israel? Because Israel is the navel of the earth. Okay? Israel is the center of the universe. That's how our Creator made it. And Jerusalem is a place. That's the reason that for us, Jewish people, Jerusalem is so important. You know, when the Palestinians, through the United Nations, say that there's no any longer Jerusalem, but it's theirs. You know, sorry to tell you, but that religion came out because of Judaism. You see? If there was no Judaism, there wouldn't be Christianity, neither Islam. The religion that derive from Judaism. And here is not what is first, the egg or the chicken. Because here we know the beginning. But what is happening? Is Israel behaving accordingly? That's the problem. We are looking outside, and we are constantly blaming the others. It is time for us in Israel to look at ourselves and say, to make a tefillah, no? To do a search of our souls, our neshama, and to be honest with ourselves and say, are we the country that we needed to be? Are we or legoyim, as the Creator asked us to be? And Moshe Rabbeinu is telling the people, it's given to you, now you need to take it. You need to conquer. You need to sweat. But you need to put in the land the Torah. The problem is that today, the Torah has disappeared, even among the ultra-religious people. They talk about Torah, but it's a Torah that doesn't exist. Because the real Torah, what the Creator has given us, has been covered up with men's ideas. To the point that today, we are not too far away from the Babel Tower, in which men have put themselves in the top, and they think they are going to be as wiser or more wiser than the Creator. You know, today, we have the chutzpah to change the word of the Creator. We have the chutzpah to say that what the Torah said is wrong, now is right. And what you say that what the Torah says today is wrong, men say that is right, and men has power over the Torah, you know that we are in a big, big, deep problem. And Messiah Yashuv, he said, there is no worse blind than the one that doesn't want to see. And there is no worse deaf than the one that doesn't want to hear. You see, I am not talking to you about religion. I am talking to you about being, about to act as a person, as a human being. What the Creator say about what is the true religion, he say. That's translated the word religion there, even the word religion doesn't exist. What is the true way before God. Justice, no? Mercy, no? To help the poor, to help the widow, to look for justice. What in Mishlei, in Proverbs, chapter 31, verses 8 and 9 say, we need to be the mouth. We need to be the speaker for those one who cannot speak for themselves. We need to help those one who cannot help themselves. Being Jewish, being Israelite, being chosen by the Creator is not a position of privilege. It's a position of service and responsibility. And we are failing on that. Moshe Rabbeinu saw that these people were going to go to the promised land. And with the time, look at what happened to Israel. All the divisions, all the fratricized fights. You know, Israel had never been defeated by foreign empires until they divided first. When they become weak, is that they were defeated by the enemies. When they went away from the Creator, when they were defeated by the enemies. But a Creator has never, ever turned His word away from us. Because our Creator, yes, is yes forever. And His no is no forever. He doesn't change His mind. And He has given His word that in spite of what Israel is, He's always bring it back. And this is my message for this week. Moshe Rabbeinu came in this 5th book, extra book of the Torah, to remind us about the responsibility that we have as individuals, as a collectivity, as a peoplehood with the rest of the world. Your existence and my existence is not for the sake of us as individuals, but it's for the sake of the community. You and I, we exist with a purpose, to be light to others who are walking on darkness. Our responsibility is not to give them a religion. It's to make them aware that we can have a relationship with the Creator. That each one of us, we are responsible for our own acts. And nobody else is going to pay for our own mistakes. We need to face our own mistakes. May the Lord give you wisdom and bless you, and have a wonderful Shabbat.